Bankshot Books presents The Amazon Princess, written by J.J. Davitt, narrated by me, Finn J.D. John. And now, The Amazon Princess. Chapter 1. The Dream. The little girl sat bolt upright in bed with a shriek. It had been such a dream. She tried not to think about it, but she couldn't block it out. Her mind was still playing the dream back. It would keep playing the dream back, though she didn't know it yet, every night for years to come. But tonight was the first time, and it was the first nightmare she had ever had, if one could call it a nightmare. It had started out, fading in from the murkiness of sleep, with her looking out on the great river that ran by her home. In her dream she didn't recognize the place, or perhaps she did. It had a feeling of deep familiarity to her. The night was very dark. Only a tiny silver sliver of crescent moon dappled the river's dark waters. But by its light, a short distance away from the riverbank, she was able to make out the bulky outlines of some kind of big boat. And in her dream she seemed to be peering out of the bushes at it, with a fierce expectancy, from the shore. Then came a faint creak and splash from the distant boat, and a small white thing detached itself and started gliding toward the shore. A tiny boat, short and wide. Inside it she was able to see the shadowy outlines of two men in large, clunky hats. A thrill of savage exultation, a feeling completely alien to her, went through her when she saw that they were coming right to her. She realized that she hated these men. This was strange, because it was the first time in her young life that she had ever felt the emotion of hatred for anyone. Certainly she had no reason to hate the strange men in her dream. She didn't even know who they were. But then she realized that no, she actually did know who they were. In her dream she recognized them as men who had come to steal her family, her mother and father and sisters and brothers and friends and everyone except for Auntie, who had stayed behind with her when the others had gone away. Wait, what was all that? She was an orphan. Her parents had died when she was just a baby. She had no memories of them at all. She had no sisters, she had no brothers, and her only friend was the little girl from her dreams, the girl she dreamed with every night and talked to and played with, her imaginary friend. But her imaginary friend wasn't in this dream, and in this dream she felt like a completely different person. Hard, resolved, fierce. She was waiting for those men to get to shore in their boat, and then she was going to... what? Finally, the small rowboat touched the bank. One of the men stepped out onto a grassy tussock and started pulling the little boat up onto the shore. The other climbed out and helped. The two of them spoke to each other, and she couldn't quite make out what they were saying, but they seemed to be arguing. They pulled the boat a long way up onto the shore, as if worried that someone might come by and steal it. Then they turned back to face the river. Her dream body was moving now, moving far more athletically than she was capable of in waking life, stealthily creeping through the underbrush, coming closer and closer to the men in the boat. They were still arguing about something. One of them held a massive golden headdress in his left hand, a headdress shaped like a great serpent that wound round the wearer's head and finished with a fierce-looking crocodilian head just over where the wearer's brow would be. In her dream she knew that headdress was the most important thing in the world. She could scarcely take her eyes off of it. The man who was holding the headdress was holding it firmly yet diffidently, as one might hold a poisonous snake by the throat to keep its fangs at bay. "It's no good, Percy," he was telling his companion, speaking with a strange accent. "I'll not have the blasted thing on my boat. There are plenty of other valuable pieces we can take with us. This one's bad luck. It gives me a bad feeling. I'm putting it back." "Just chuck it in the bushes here somewhere, or drop it in the river," the other urged. "Don't be so damn sensitive, Alfred." "No, I am returning it. I verily believe doing so is our only hope of getting home alive, Percy." Percy gave a short, scornful laugh. "Scoff all you like," Alfred said in a level voice. "It's my boat, it's my expedition, and I make the rules." The scant moonlight gleamed on the headdress in Alfred's hand as he turned his back on the other, apparently intending to continue walking up the riverbank. But as he did so, the man called Percy moved like a striking viper in the inky darkness. There was a flash of pale skin, a snicking sound of a knife coming out of its sheath, and a thump like the sound of a ripe melon being dropped. Alfred gasped. He ran a couple of steps and collapsed to the bank. Then he rolled over and looked up at the man called Percy. What? He gasped. "Why?" said Percy coldly. "Because that's one less hand reaching for a share of the treasure, and one less..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?